To thank you for making Subway footlongs famous, now enjoy any regular footlong as a $5 footlong. That's right, any, including your favorites, like the savory chicken and bacon ranch. Any Subway regular footlong is just $5. Hurry in.
The BS Report is a free-flowing conversation that occasionally touches on mature subjects.
First of all,
This is the BS Report with Bill Simmons.
it might be cool, I don't know. And if it's not, I don't
The
care.
BS Report with Bill Simmons.
Bill Simmons works for ESPN. He's also named the Sports Guy, and he writes a comical sports column. He must be a popular dude.
The BS Report.
It's got a real dirty sound, like a rusty steak knife cutting through a well-aged steak.
Now.
Here's Bill Simmons.
All right, BS Report Mega March Madness Preview, Part 3. Cousin Sal on the line. The Subway Fresh Take Hotline. It's been a while. What's happening?
What's going on, man?
You love this time of year. It's one of your favorites.
I really do. There's so many things about it. Like, there's only a few weeks of football that beat this for me, really.
Yeah.
And I'm off this week, too, from work, and it's great. It's like, all right, honey, I know you and the kids are here, but I'm going to need all day Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday myself to watch these games, and probably all day Tuesday and Wednesday to check out props online. So,
Yeah, how's that going for you? How's that going for you, being in the house with 40 newspapers in front of you and computer screens and printouts and probably...
It's great and it's terrible at the same time. You know how it is.
I know how it is. Yeah, that's good. You
yeah.
probably should have sent her away.
This is why you should always overpay on Valentine's Day. You know, you reward the old lady for sitting through 21 weeks of football, Sundays and whatever, Thursdays and Mondays, and then you overpay for Valentine's Day, and I think you buy a few days in March as a result.
I was thinking about it this weekend. I even tweeted about it. I think we've now underrated the conference championship weekend.
Yeah, I heard you guys, you and Chad Melman talking about that. I don't know. That's the one thing that bugs me a little bit. You like it? You liking it?
Well, I think it's more fun to gamble on than the first 2 days of March Madness, because the first 2 days of March Madness, there's so many high lines. But on Saturday and Sunday at conference championship, it's basically like very pure 6-point and under type of lines for the most part. And everybody's playing for something.
That part of it, but I think they're not playing for something. I think the perfect example is Syracuse. Like, you can't say it's a great weekend to go to Vegas when possibly the best team in the country is not going to even try, and they're coming off a double bye. It seems crazy to me. Like, Syracuse knows they're getting a 1 seed. Why are they going to try? And that's why 3 of the top 4 seeds in the Big East go down day 1 or whenever, day 4, which is the first day they play. So
maybe they should have a rule that you can't get the 1 seed unless you win your conference tournament. That'd be interesting.
That would be interesting. Yeah, make it a little more like football.
Yeah.
It is odd that football doesn't have a playoff system, but at least you have to win your conference. Win your whatever you call it to win the conference.
Who do you have in your Final Four?
Oh, we're going right to it, huh?
Well, no, I wanted to, because you want to talk about the other stuff first? All right, fine. Let's talk about the other stuff first. So, there's a couple of different, really comprehensive or fun or whatever pool type things that we want to talk about and maybe lay them out and try to decide what's the most fun. Now, the first one is, I like these auctions. I've actually never participated in one, and I'm kind of disappointed. I feel like I failed as a human being that nobody's ever invited me to one of these. But the auctions where you go and every team is up for bid, basically, and whatever the final pot is, that's the pot. It's very illegal.
It's bad. And
but like for this year,
someone's holding like $100,000 in their house, stored like at some point.
Yeah. But at the same time, fantastic. And there's a bunch of ways you could go. Like you could basically say, I love Kansas. Nobody's going to outbid me. What are Kansas's odds to win the tournament?
It's like 2-1, basically.
Right. So if you had this pot and 1/3 of the money is your Kansas bet, so you have 3-1 odds. Like that's actually might be a good way to go. I guess there would be a tipping point.
A lot of these you get money for every round you advance. So
true.
If you're I don't know, for argument's sake, let's say you're paying like $25,000 for Kansas, but you get like $1,200 for a first round win and $1,800 for a second round win and $3,200 for it ends up being better odds than if you just bet them to win the whole thing. So
And that's why there's a school of thought, like maybe you go after like a 5 seed like Temple. Or instead of spending all your money on Kansas, you spend less on a 3 seed like Baylor and hope to make the Final Four and then possibly have a long shot to make it. You make more money that way.
Right. Yeah, I think that's a good way. And off of that point, for NIT fantasy drafts, auction over snake draft, right?
Absolutely. Now, if one of these auctions was televised, would you watch it?
Well, let me tell you something. I watched Joe Lunardi's fake draft, what do you call it, March Madness Selection Sunday for an hour, and I laughed. I called you. I was like, this is the funniest thing ever. If I'm watching this, I will watch anything. It's really, he's completely amusing himself, right? It's like a young Bill Simmons playing with his wrestling dolls in 1984. Well, Backlund versus the Masked Superstar. Like, what? You're going to get one game wrong, you're going to get them all wrong, right? Like, you can't say, well, 6-11, I have Marquette and Old Dominion. This is a very important matchup. Like, no, it's not, because it's not a real matchup. And the rest is meaningless. What are you doing?
I love bracketology, but when we run it the day, like an hour before the actual selections come out, that's when it crosses the line.
How desperate do you have to be? You can't wait another hour to see the real team.
I'm about to spend the next 3 hours after this hour watching the real matchups with the real brackets. All you're doing is cluttering my head with things that I probably should just wait an hour to think about. I agree.
Exactly. We're supposed to then compare his projected field to everyone to the real one. Like, I think it's just like a thank you to Joe Lunardi. Like, all right, we're not going to see you for many months now, so go have.
It's like thanks for the last 4 months. We'll give you this one last spot right before the actual brackets come out. I was thinking
with the real bracketology, another one of my favorite things that you don't see anywhere is they have the team standing by, and there's always like a 9-second delay from when they're announced to when they realize they're on TV, and then they show like a team like East Tennessee State who is, they're in the tournament. They won their conference tournament, so they're in. And they will be playing Kentucky, and they go absolutely nuts. They go bonkers that they're playing Kentucky. Like, did they think they were going to play the Lakers? Like, why are you so excited to see yourself on TV?
It's so funny. I almost tweeted about this because I was similarly confused. I guess it's probably just so excited to be in. You're just excited to see your name. But
I guess.
But I mean,
you were in though, right?
Well, what I don't get is why don't they just have the cameras on the bubble teams? If you're a bubble team, yes, we made it. We're a 12 seed. That's what the excitement I want. But if you're in, I don't
Didn't
understand.
it seem like when we were younger, they had more disappointed teams? They had more cameras on more of the teams, like you said, like that would have been disappointed. Like,
well, I think they made a rule that they don't show the disappointed teams.
Oh, is that it?
Yeah. Did we see one this year? I don't even remember.
Why? No, we didn't. You're right.
Yeah, I don't think they showed them
interview
anymore.
the loser after each boxing match or anything. Like, who cares? That's the fun part.
I think the whole
screaming about how he got screwed because he was 22-14 and didn't get in.
Do you think we maybe go to a Bachelor or Survivor format for the bubble teams? Invite all the coaches.
Oh yeah,
that'd be
good. Might be good.
First we find out who the 4 bubble teams are. Everybody else goes. Gentlemen, this is the final residency. That'd be interesting.
Yeah, I like that.
I like the other thing with bracketology I was thinking was, wouldn't it be amazing if Joe Lunardi went out like an hour before the real show and everything he predicted actually happened? Like, he just nailed it. He went 64 for 64.
Yeah.
But would that be the most incredible sporting achievement of all time? I think we'd be talking about that for 100 years.
That would be great. That would
lead the USA Today. That would lead news programs.
Yeah. Does he think he does it like that? I didn't even check. How many was he wrong on? I mean,
I think he's in the vicinity of almost all of them. But this year was weird because there was a couple weird seedings, some teams that were. I mean,
to be predicting 8-9 matchups and to talk with such certainty.
I think don't you have to do it that way though? It's like it's like having a fantasy guy, and they're like, I think so-and-so will rush for 200 yards this week. Like, the only way to do it is authoritatively.
Sure, and we go on there and we talk about, oh, no, this team's going to lose, this team's going to win, and we really don't know what we're talking about. But with there's hundreds of thousands of possibilities of matchups. I mean, for him to narrow it down and talk about Marquette and Wofford, like, it's just not going to happen. What do you mean?
I love it. I think he should go on even after they announce the tournament and still do more bracketology.
Oh, yeah, I like it.
I think these would have been better matchups.
He should do all the political candidates, everything. Let him go at it.
So what's your favorite upset pick? Oh, no, hold on. Wait a second. I forgot. We got to go back. So we talked about the auction format. There's another idea that's emerged. A friend of mine named Noah, who works for the MLB Network, told us this idea. I thought it was very interesting. It's basically a suicide pool. Mm-hmm. So you have 11 days total. And there's 11 days with games during March Madness. 4 the first week, 4 the second week, 2 then the final.
Right.
So basically, I mean, it could go a variety of ways. The most simple way would be this. You just have to pick a winner every one of those 11 days, and you can't pick the same team twice. Mm-hmm. So
I love it.
You and I are talking about it. There's got to be a real science to this. Like, you obviously don't want to waste Kansas, Kentucky, basically any of the top 8 teams you don't want to pick in the first 4 games.
Right.
So maybe round 1 you take BYU.
Yeah. He told me about this a few days ago, and I don't know. I don't feel like I'm at liberty to discuss it too long because I only spent 2 hours researching it, how I would do it in subsequent days. But yeah, that would be something. And ties lose, right?
What do you mean?
I don't know. No, that's a big thing in football. You don't know.
Oh.
But no, let's just do it. Let's do it and see how it works out.
We're gonna do it. And I think it's gonna be. I don't know how it'll play out. And I think it'll suck if you go 10-0, but then you've used the 2 teams that are in the finals. How anticlimactic would that be?
Yeah,
you just automatically eliminated.
You want to have at least 1 seed. I think you probably, if you have 2 1 seeds left after the weekend, I think you're in good shape, right?
What is the other one where you pick a team, but then if the other team beats them, you get that team?
There's one where everyone, like, let's say that you have 64 guys involved. And, all right, so Lehigh, let's say you have Lehigh and I have Kansas. But you're getting the spread, really. So
yeah. Oh, the cover, Lehigh, it's a cover thing. Yeah, that's right.
Right, that's what it is. So you have Lehigh, I'm trying to see what they're getting. They're getting a ton of points, like 26 or 27 points. If Kansas wins by 20, you now have Kansas in the second round. So if Kansas plays UNLV and they're given 12 and whatever, then they advance. They win by 15. You still have Kansas. Or the guy who has UNLV, if they covered, then gets Kansas in the third game.
Yeah, it's not as fun as the suicide pool.
No, it's more luck than anything. But yeah, I like the suicide.
Another one I was thinking was maybe some sort of gambling pool where you pick 2 games a day.
Yeah.
Or it could go where you just have $100 of bets to make, and you can make like 4 maximum or whatever. But just basically see who's the best pick person. It'd be a fun way to gamble without actually losing a lot of money.
Listen, I like it all. I really do.
I didn't think I'd have any doubters from your end on these.
I love every bit of it. In fact, like, really though, the best thing to do is you fill out your bracket and then go to. I don't want to, but just for fun, you go to sportsbook.com and print out the tournament props.
Yes.
And it really just says who will have more wins. Like there are a million of them, like Texas or BYU, and then you just add on your bracket and if there's a huge discrepancy, that's the one that you go with.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Like for instance. Like everyone loves Baylor. Like, who will have more wins, Baylor or Georgetown? So if you have Baylor winning 3 games and Georgetown winning 2, you'll go Baylor. But I mean, I have a ton of these that I like. Like, a lot of them are like tournament or conference. They go by conference, so it's like. Oh,
you love the conferences. No, you love the ACC versus the Big East type of bets.
Yeah, right. They have that. But one thing is like SEC over 5.5 wins minus 135, and I added them up, and I have them winning 10 games. Like, I have Tennessee going a little further than everyone else, but that's a big, I'm over by 4.5 games. I have to take that,
Wait a second. SEC is 5.5 wins. That's the over?
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't Kentucky in the SEC?
Kentucky is in the SEC. So Florida, let's say you don't even have Florida winning. You're going to have Kentucky winning probably 3 games, right? 2 or 3, even if they don't make the Final Four.
But Kentucky could make the finals and almost win that bet by itself.
Exactly. And
that's a pretty good one.
And Vanderbilt will win 1 or 2. I don't think they're getting upset. And I really, like I said, I like Tennessee. I think you're counting on Kentucky, Tennessee, and Vanderbilt. I like that one a lot.
The other fun thing about that bet is that you're rooting for multiple teams. It can kind of avoid the whole thing of betting with point spreads and stuff. You're just rooting for teams to win, and especially in the first round, you have how many SEC teams are there? 4?
Yeah.
So you're just rooting for all 4 of those teams that first round, and if you hit all 4, you're almost there. I mean, then Kentucky would have to get upset before the Elite 8, basically, to lose that bet.
And if Florida beats BYU, you kind of have the bet won, right? Like that's a gravy thing. That's a pick'em game, and it's gravy.
I mean, you could almost go against that and bet BYU.
Yeah, that's true.
I like BYU. I like the guard, whatever his name is.
Here's one. This wasn't on Sportsbook. I had to look for this prop on Bodog or something, but 0 buzzer beaters is -140.
What?
I like that.
You mean 0 for the whole tournament or round 1?
For the whole tournament. Now, a buzzer beater is just like, it doesn't mean you tie it and go to overtime. That means there's no inbound after the buzzer beater. You don't like that? You like a buzzer beater?
No, that's pretty interesting because, coincidentally, I was watching the Sports Nation buzzer beater show last night, which was really entertaining. And
it's great, but there aren't as many as you think, right?
Well, that's what that you made me think because they only had 16, and a couple of those didn't even happen at the buzzer. They happened with like 0.5 seconds left or whatever.
I mean, it's kind of like betting the don't pass line in craps because the buzzer beater is the most exciting thing. But, in 95% of the games, you're not going to have to worry about a buzzer beater. They're going to be up by 4 or more with 5 seconds left,
But wouldn't it be more fun to bet on the buzzer beater? What's that, like plus 110?
Well, they have how many it's going to be. It's going to be like, will there be 1? Will there be 2? Will there be 3? So I thought it was just easy to bet 0.
That's a fun one. What? Just out of curiosity, what is the ACC total conference wins over under?
I kind of like this under.
Because I think the ACC blows.
Yeah.
I think they suck. Not a good conference.
In fact, if Duke's an early exit, then it doesn't really have a chance. Yeah. It's 7.5. Under 7.5 is plus 125, and I added them up at 6. I actually have Duke going far.
Because of their region, how can you not?
Yeah, right.
It's ridiculous.
So I thought they'd make the Final Four, but I don't see more than 2 wins from any of these other teams: Clemson, Florida State, Georgia Tech, Maryland, or Wake Forest.
Maryland's the only one that I could see winning a couple.
I think maybe they win 2 games, and that's it. There's your 6 games right there.
Yeah, I thought that would be higher. What's the Big East one?
That's a lot of games, though.
What's Big East?
Big East is a lot. It's I've always gone over in the Big East, but the number's so high this year.
Is it like 9.5, 10? I'm going to guess 9.5. We should have done guess the lines for this.
Oh, yeah, you're right. We should have.
That would have been fun. Next year, right? Remind ourselves. 15.5.
15.5. Well,
oh, my God.
You have West Virginia and Syracuse are probably supposed to win 7 or 8 games right there. And then Georgetown a couple, and Villanova a couple.
Oh, yeah, Villanova might sneak into a 2 seed.
And then you got Louisville, Marquette, Notre Dame, and Pitt, who could be scrappy and win,
Notre Dame will win 1 or 2. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
so,
I had it at 16, and it's over 15.5. I think that's a stay away.
So out of West Virginia, Syracuse, and who's the other one that's a high seed, Georgetown?
West Virginia, Syracuse, Villanova.
Oh, Villanova, I'm sorry, yeah. So out of West Virginia, Syracuse, Villanova, if 2 of those teams make the Final 8, you're in pretty good shape. If all 3 make it, you're almost in.
It'll be close. There's also another one, like if you like the 2 seeds, number 2 seeds, total wins, and over-under is 10, so.
Ooh. So the 2 seeds are Ohio State, West Virginia, Villanova, and who's the 4th one?
Kansas State.
That's Kansas State would be the weak link in that one.
Oh,
That's pretty interesting, though.
Yeah. That's probably right on that number. And then there's like number one seeds. How many number one seeds will be in the Final Four? They always make it 1.5. It's interesting.
And what's the odds on that?
Minus 135 is over, plus 105 is under.
For the one seeds.
For the one.
So, wow. I mean, so if you think
you like
there's
Kansas, if everyone likes Kansas making the Final Four, then you're just betting at Duke. I mean, talk about a bet you can go against.
Right.
That's the one, right?
Well, if you think it's going to be Kansas, Kentucky in the Final Two or the Final Four, then that's the most logical bet, I think.
And you're good. Yeah. I mean, last year was all 4, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this year, I'd be really surprised if 3 number one seeds didn't make it.
Yeah.
That's pretty, the one that I do think Syracuse may have peaked too soon. It seemed like they really were rolling on all cylinders. I'm going to say like late January, early February, just had that look to them. And now I don't know. Are you a momentum guy or no?
No, I am. I think that they lost their last 2. That's rough, but I think they'll give these first couple of teams a fit with their zone, so they'll probably be back in the groove. And but I don't know. Do you want to talk brackets now, like who we have going where now?
I have one more thing I wanted to talk about. I do think the fantasy we haven't. I feel like we've all failed. This is the kind of stuff that we should just be nailing. We should be able to have a fantasy NCAA tournament draft online like we did with the NBA. We should have an auction or whatever, and it should just be, you can make it a little more complicated, make it points, rebounds, and assists added together, or it could just, you could do it with your friends and do it a straight point draft. I don't think, I've done this a few different ways, and it's really tough when it goes over like 6 guys, because it's such a big advantage. Like, for instance, this year, you'd, obviously Evan Turner would be one of the top picks. John Wall, who would be the top Kansas guy? They kind of split it around.
Rod Collins.
Yeah, probably Collins. But I mean, so if you had a draft that had 10 guys in it, you're pretty screwed once it gets to it. So I don't think it'd go more than 5 or 6.
Yeah,
but,
and how many rounds? Like rounds?
Yeah, something like that. But I think that's really fun because, there's some skill. Maybe you think West Virginia's going to win the title, so you have the 5th pick, and you take their best guy and then their second best guy coming back or whatever. But and then near the end, you're trying to get lucky with some of those 7 to 10 seed type guys. But right. I think that's really fun. I've done that a few years, and I've never not enjoyed it.
Yeah. Listen,
so I think we should do that this year, too.
I'm not going to argue with you on any of this. I like it all. I want my head to be spinning Thursday morning when we're watching together.
All right, well, let's make a pact. So the 2 things we're definitely doing, actually the 3 things, we're going to organize the suicide pool. I think we have to do some sort of a fantasy thing and just make it points so it's easy to keep track.
Okay.
And then the 3rd thing is we're going on the SEC over.
I love it.
And you might be able to talk me into the buzzer beater bet. And I think it'd be weird to be angry if there was a buzzer beater.
That's the other thing I was thinking. I'm always on the wrong side of the buzzer beater anyway, so it might as well be I don't ever remember jumping up and down for joy. Leitner's shot was demoralized. It's all bad, so we might as well bet against the buzzer beater.
What was your favorite buzzer beater out of all time?
Let me think.
Because I was thinking about this yesterday during the, not to keep plugging the Sports Nation show, but I really did enjoy it. It was fun to watch all of them again.
There was one game where Curly Neal, the Globetrotters it was weird that they were behind all game, and they fell back, and there was confetti.
Well, are you a Leitner? Are you a Leitner fan?
I guess it was, because the truth is that I did have Duke in that game. And
you did?
I know you hate the money line, but I had Duke. They did good by me.
I think Lorenzo Charles is still the best one because that won a title, and it was such a goofy play, and you had Jimmy V running around, and Charles didn't even know what happened, he was in shock. Leitner game was the most exciting college basketball game I think I've ever watched. We were in college and watched that whole game.
Thomas Hill crying is hard to beat in the Leitner shot. Hands on his head, crying.
And they show that game sometimes, and it's really freaking exciting. Not just the ending, but that entire game was just really, really, really entertaining and had good guys who went on to become NBA players.
Yep. Nash, there's fun players all around there.
My favorite, I tweeted this last night, but my favorite underrated one was the U.S. Reed one from 1981. It's like out of the Stone Age. They call timeout to diagnose the inbounds pass, which is basically they throw it to him 2 feet away, and then he dribbles with his head down half the court. And it almost looks like a fifth grader or something. Like it's like out of one of Archie's games. And then he launches his midcourt.
Lineman who never played basketball before. Like, all right, dribble this ball and then heave it.
And then it was a midcourt heave. It goes in. He knocks out the defending champs. And his name was U.S. That's my favorite random one.
That is great. It was a great moment for our country.
I agree.
I also think I watched that because I saw you tweet and I watched it and it was great. But I swear the announcers were cursing too. Like, they said BS, like, no, they said holy ass. Like, don't try. I have to look back, but I think swear words got by.
Hey, one more reason they hate the NCAA. So they do that Sports Nation show, and they have all the original calls of the announcers, which really, makes it 100 times better to hear the guys go crazy. And the NCAA last minute says they can't use the audio of the announcers.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah. So Colin and Michelle had to talk over.
Oh,
shot. Thanks, NCAA. Thanks for continuing to suck. All right, let's talk about brackets.
Same with, do you believe in miracles too?
Wow, it's just like really. I mean, it's just all this does is make people like college basketball more. Yeah, you really have to like.
Right.
We can't hear the announcers.
Exactly.
Jerks.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. So I mean, we'll go through this real fast, I guess. In my Midwest, I like Kansas all the way through, and I think you do too. They're
loaded.
Yeah, they're better than everyone else. But I like Tennessee going far. Like, everyone's thinking San Diego State. Like, this Tennessee team, they had, 4 guys suspended, and they beat Kansas. They played, a rough brand of basketball. That guy Chisholm is as good as a lot of the players in that bracket. And I don't know. I like them winning 3 games.
I like the coach, too.
Yeah. And he puts his son in unnecessarily. That's the only thing I don't like. Bruce Pearl always throws his son in. And if you had plus-minus in basketball, he's probably a minus 750 this year. But
he's the Sean Sutton of this year's tournament.
Yeah, exactly. So I like Kansas taking the Midwest.
All right.
In the West, I like Syracuse winning a few games. Not too many upsets. Maybe like Minnesota going a little further than they should, beating Pittsburgh. Vanderbilt winning a couple games. I like this K-State team. I don't know if you've watched them. Yeah, that backcourt is really phenomenal. Jacob Pullen and this Dennis Clemente is really fast, and they gave Kansas a fit in 3 games this year, and I like them going to the Final Four. So it would be Kansas and Kansas State on that side.
That my only downer with Kansas State is the coach is like a serial killer. I just don't know. I think at some point he's going to break his players because he's just so intense and such negative energy coming from that guy. Has there ever been a more negative coach?
No. Well, yeah, it's Bobby Knight being gone. Yeah, you think that was...
No, Bobby Knight, at least, he didn't have the aura that this guy has. Like, this guy should dress up like the Grim Reaper.
Yeah.
I'm frightened of this guy.
Well, I'm telling you.
I don't know. All right, well, we'll see.
I'd be terrified of him, and that's why Kansas State's going to win. By the way, you mentioned it, my new favorite blowhard announcer device. I got a new one. It's really good.
I'm excited.
Ask me who I like between Ohio State and Cal Santa Barbara.
Sal, who do you like between Ohio State and Cal Santa Barbara?
Well, it's very simple, Bill. Ohio State, and for one reason. They have Evan Turner, and Cal Santa Barbara doesn't. I don't know who did it. I went to TiVo and I screwed up. I ended up turning the TV off. I'm like, oh, who was that? That's great. But it was in one of these tournament.
That's a good one. I have one. I'm going to give one back to you. Ask me about Evan Turner.
What do you think of Evan Turner as a player?
Well, Sal, when you look at Evan Turner, you're looking at a guy. Those are 9 words we don't need ever on television.
Right.
How about this? I think he's good. But did they do that? When you're looking at Evan Turner, you look at a guy. It's like you haven't said anything yet.
They're in competition with each other. How long can they go saying absolutely nothing before they say something?
Here's a guy is another one. Evan Turner, here's a guy. How about just answer the question? Well, he's a guy. His name's Evan Turner. We knew that. Could you say something now? All right, next 2 regions.
All right, this is the Kentucky region, the East, and I have Kentucky winning 4 games. Not too many upsets here. But I have West Virginia beating Kentucky in the grade 8 to make the Final Four. I'm actually mad that they won the Big East tournament because West Virginia was going to be the team I had sneaking up on everyone, but now they're 2 seed. But that Deshaun Butler he's a special player, Bill.
Well, you look at Deshaun Butler and you're looking at a guy that makes big shots.
And West Virginia has him, and no one else does it.
What did you think of Billis picking Cornell? Like, adamantly. He's convinced Cornell was going to win. I was shocked by that. Cornell?
I saw that.
I'm not saying it's not going to happen. It's just, I mean, really, Cornell, if they made the second round, and I know they're getting a lot of bandwagon attention, but it's weird that they would have a good basketball team.
By the way, our agent is from Cornell. You know that, right?
James Baby Doll Dixon?
Yeah, he went to Cornell.
He did?
Watch what you say, baby. He'll burn cigarettes.
He owns the most houses of any Cornell graduate.
Exactly. All right, and then in the final, you're not going to like this, but I have Duke going to the Final Four, just mowing through those teams.
Over
you hate that Duke team.
I thought Chad made a good point that they're like Gonzaga in that if they don't make shots, they just lose. So you can never predict what game that's going to happen.
Yeah,
they're not a static team. It's one of those they could go cold and you could beat them, and it doesn't matter who they're playing.
I thought it's funny that because I listened to your podcast, and I thought it's funny that you don't like them because to me Duke are the Patriots. They're like just these 7 pestering white guys, like winning methodically, hateable coach. That's your team. You have 7 Wes Welkers out there playing defense, and then it's 43-32 at half. You know,
that's one of the meanest things you've ever said to me.
Just take them, just root for them. It'll be easier.
Hey, I haven't talked to you since the John Mayer Playboy interview came out.
Yeah.
Do you feel a little better about Romo and some of his playoff failures after finding out that Jessica Simpson was sexual napalm? I mean, that had to have affected him.
Yeah, of course.
Who knew that this guy was having sex like that?
I was thinking, please don't do a follow-up interview. This is all we need to get embroiled in this. It's funny. I told you I met Tony Romo. He did the Handsome Men's Club video for us.
Right.
Him alive, and I met him. Super nice guy, and I said to him, I said, listen, I don't care what people tell you. You don't have to pass to Roy Williams anymore. You understand? Don't even look for him. There's no quota. Don't go to him anymore. And he started telling me, he's like, well, you know what? We're going to explore some different avenues. Like, he was totally on board. And then his agent says, don't talk to Cousin Sal about this. He goes on Simmons and blabs to everyone. So there you go. That's me blabbing to everyone.
There's me blabbing. That's great. Well, I was so happy for you because the last time you met one of your heroes, it was Emmitt Smith, and it just couldn't have gone any worse. And now this one actually went pretty well.
Yeah, this is good. I kept my distance. I spoke to him for like 15 minutes. I felt like I could have talked to him for an hour, and then I was like, all right, I'm getting out of here. I have to run away before something bad happens.
He was okay with you naming your younger son middle name after him, right?
Well, you know what's funny about that? My wife says to him, hey, yeah, and he was there, Jack Romo. I brought my son, Jack Romo, there to take a picture, and my wife says, are you, what'd she say? She's like, are you freaked out by the fact that people are naming their kids after you? And he's like, no, I'm going to name my own kids after me. Great line, by the way. Perfect.
Tony Romo.
My wife says, my wife's like, oh, okay, because I was worried you thought we might have jinxed you by naming. I was like, what? Don't say that to him. We jinxed him. Then I have to, follow up. I'm like, no, what jinx? He's great. He's 4,500 yards this year. He's going to be a Hall of Famer. There's no jinx here, sweetheart. Boy, when I get to you later. Oh. Yeah, don't invite the wife to these things.
You know what's interesting? I've had... just randomly I've been able to meet a couple quarterbacks, and then you've met a couple, and I know a couple other people. They're all really, really good grounded guys for the most part. And I guess you have to be to play that position successfully. You can't be and be a football quarterback and rally the guys behind you every time.
Right, there are exceptions, of course.
Of course.
But that's why, when you see the low scores on the Wonderlic test, I'm like, wow, that surprises me that this guy could keep it all together throughout the season, win a national championship and everything, and really he's deemed stupid by the league. But yeah, I agree with you. But there's also something to be said. Like when I met Romo, I immediately, as great as he was, I'm like, God, this guy's a dozen years younger than me. This is really pathetic of me to hire people like this. But
that's
God.
funny. Yeah, I feel the same about Durant, who I'm literally twice as old as him. Almost.
Are we going to win that bet or not? That couldn't be closer right now.
Well, let's talk about that quickly, and then I'll let you go. So LeBron's at 29.9. Durant's at 29.8. We have Durant at 9-1 odds we bet before the season. And not a small chunk of change either on it. And,
this is all you, by the way. This is a good bet.
Thank you. It's about time I came through on something.
Well, I expect to lose still, but I think it was a fun bet anyway.
No. As I told you, we have it. If he can stay within 0.1 or 0.2 or just be neck and neck, whatever, going into that last week, it's going to be. We have a huge advantage in our favor because Cleveland will have the number 1 seed clinched with a couple days to go. They're not going to be playing LeBron 45 minutes a game. They're going to be trying to rest him and rest his legs and make sure he's 100% healthy. Meanwhile, Durant, they're trying to win their division still, another bet that we have. And he has the last game. LeBron's 82nd game is before Durant's 82nd game. Mm-hmm. So Durant plays on a Wednesday night, and I forget who he plays. But
I think Toronto is it. I think I looked at this the other day. They're at Toronto or something.
So he will know exactly how many points he needs in that game, and given that whatever, if he's 0.1 behind or something or 0.2, he'll really. I think it works out to like.
So with 0.2, 81 games in is 16. You have to outscore your opponent by 16 points in the last game.
Right. So he'd need if it was 0.2, he'd need 46 points. If it was 0.1, he'd need 40. But the point is, he'll know, and they'll be feeding him the ball, and he'll be trying to get it. And I think he's at home. So I think
maybe he is at home. Yeah.
If we're within 0.2, I think we win on that final day. But either way, that's going to be one of the more randomly exciting NBA games in a while because, the record for youngest scoring champ ever is 23. He's 21. So he'd break that by 2 years.
Yeah, but they said, I heard that someone say it means nothing unless we win our bet.
That's true. Well, then we have the other one we have.
The only thing I'm worried about is the Cavs competing with the Lakers for best record. Maybe LeBron will play tough towards the end.
Well, I think the Cavs have a pretty sizable. They have a couple game lead over them. Yeah, LA's lost a couple games. I haven't looked in a while. The other thing,
like I said, I'd rather him play half games than sit full games, LeBron. Right?
Well, and then the other one we have this bet on Durant's team to win the division. They're only 2 back in the loss column. Denver lost their coach, who's getting treatment for cancer, and they lost Kenyon Martin for basically the whole season.
Lost a brutal game yesterday.
Lost a brutal game last night. Utah's got Darren Williams hurt. Don't sleep on the Durants possibly getting a 2 or 3 seed. That would be amazing.
All right. I'm excited.
All right. So I'll see you on Thursday or Friday.
Well, I'll give you my final 4. Kansas, Kansas State, West Virginia, Duke. I have Kansas beating West Virginia in the finals. One thing real quick. I love the one thing with Chad Millman yesterday you guys were talking about. The best thing to come out of that is that the wise guys hate Mike Krzyzewski.
I couldn't believe that.
How great is that?
I have to say,
David Chase missed an opportunity. He should have filmed something with Paulie Walnuts strangling Coach K with the very net he cut down in the back of the bank. Out
of all the podcasts I think I've ever done, I learned the most in that one. I had no idea that the Sharps put that much thought into the coaches, just vehemently against some guys and loving other guys. I just didn't know. Yeah. That was really interesting. All right, Cousin Sal, see you. You're off this week. Coming back next week, Jimmy Kimmel Live. And our cousin is on Letterman tonight.
Yes, watch Jimmy on Letterman. He's very excited. And by that, I mean he's a nervous basket case you've never seen before. It's really, he hosts the Academy Awards with his eyes closed before going on Letterman. He gets so crazy.
It's tough. I would never be able to meet him. The one last thing, don't forget to sign up for the BS Report Tourney Challenge.
I did before I came on here. And I will see you Thursday. Actually, I'm invited to a bunch of tweetcasts, so I'm going to try to hit yours.
All right. Thank you. Talk to you soon. That's going to wrap up part 3 of the Mega March Madness podcast. You know what? Let's go for part 4. We'll call house on another podcast. Let's make this its own. Until then.
So I get to sign off. Whoa.
Thank you for downloading the BS Report with Bill Simmons.
Too much fun.
Check out more podcasts at the iTunes Music Store or at PodCenter at ESPNRadio.com.
Peace out.
To thank you for making Subway footlongs famous. Now enjoy any regular footlong as a $5 footlong. That's right, any, including your favorites like the savory chicken, bacon, and ranch. Any Subway regular footlong is just $5. Hurry in.